I had a question for you. You were saying yesterday, I think a few days before that, how difficult it is for rookies to transition this year without summer league, without the fall practices. I guess all the things that that you would usually get. With all that, do you expect it harder for for Emmanuel, for Obi? I don't know if Miles or anyone else you guys are expecting to contribute. Do you think it'll be harder for them to contribute at least early on in the season?
Well, I think for all rookies, but what we have to do is these are the circumstances, and you have to make the best of the circumstances that you're facing. And so, and by that I mean normally a summer league is a dry run for training camp, so it gives the guys an idea of what training camp looks like. And then summer league is you're not really playing against NBA rotation type players, so that's not really a good example of the talent level that you'll be facing. But the fall practices usually gives you a good head start, and now you've had the summer league experience, and then of course you get to the fall practices, and now you're going against NBA players. So then by the time you get to training camp, you have an idea of what you're going to run offensively, how you're going to play defensively, what the drills are, and you have an idea of what the strengths and weaknesses of some of your teammates are. And there's a lot to learn because the rules are obviously a lot different. And then, of course, you have to learn the tendencies of each team and each player in the league. And so normally with rookies, the first time through, there's some good, there's some bad. The second time through, it usually gets a little better. And, you're further down the road in a normal season. But I love both our rookies. They're hardworking, they're diligent, they're doing all the right things.
All right, we'll try Steve Popper again.
Hey, Tom. I swear that wasn't me. I just want to see. I guess Austin Rivers is not practicing today. Kind of where you're at with him, and just I guess how much losing any time hurts anybody in this quick turnaround for you.
Yeah, well, I think it puts you behind, but you also want to be smart about it. There's like pulls and strains. I think you got to be careful with, and so when he's healthy and ready to go, then he'll go. And right now it gives us a chance to evaluate some other guys, and then when he's healthy enough, he'll get going.
All right, we'll try Greg Joyce again. All right, Greg seems to be having issues. We'll try Mike Vorkanoff again.
Tom, so you've talked about how kind of like there's so much more threes around the league. It seems like they're shooting threes from further out now. More shots from 30 plus feet. And so there's a lot more spacing that's more than just like extending to the 3-point line now and just deeper threes. Do you think you want to do that with the offense that you're constructing? I know the Knicks haven't done a lot of that over the last few years. Do you think it's valuable to shoot from further out? And is that something you'd like to see your teams do?
Well, I think you have to look at what the strengths and weaknesses of your team are, and obviously working towards, closing the gap on the deficiency that we do have with shooting threes. It's, I think what we're seeing in the league is there's a lot more skill on the floor now, and we're seeing, usually 4 shooters and one big who's putting pressure on the rim. And now it's gotten to the point where everyone has at least one of their centers that can shoot threes. So there's times where you have 5 3-point shooters on the floor, which also opens up the cutting game. And again, I think a big part of good sound offense, and I think when you look at teams that are successful in the playoffs, there's a balance to it, and you have to have different ways to get to different spots that will force the defense to collapse. And so whatever your strengths are, play to those strengths. So getting to the line is very important. Getting layups, getting dunks, getting shots in the restricted, getting the corner 3, and then what transition threes are you looking for? But it's all a big part of it is based on your ability to force a defense to collapse, whether that be through dribble penetration, which we're seeing, of course, a lot of because of the spacing of 5 out. There's no one on the blocks. So it allows you to drive, and then, you have to rim read once you get in there. What's happening is how many players are on you. If there's 2 or 3 guys on you, spray it out. Take good shots. I think, knowing when to shoot and when to pass is a big part of winning in this league. And we have to figure out a way to score.
Our next question comes from Bomadelli, Next Digital.
All right, Coach. Still very early in training camp, but what have you seen from Dennis Smith Jr. early so far?
And again, I saw him quite a bit this summer, and so I think he's come into camp. He's been very aggressive. I think each day he's gotten better and better, and that's what we're asking him to do: to run his team, keep us organized, take advantage of what your strengths are, your ability to get downhill, to force people to collapse, and then make the right play. And he can score the ball. He's shooting the ball pretty well right now, but he's making good plays also.
We have time for 2 more questions. The next one comes from Mike Vorkanoff, The Athletic.
Tom, to that end with Dennis, there's a lot about how he's working on a shot this summer with Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, and I think, that's been a thing for him in the summer. Is it too early for you to tell whether the changes he's made with his shot have made him a better shooter, and whether that can last into the season, and whether, it's something that he can continue on when there are games being played and not practices or just workouts?
Well, and that's what you're hoping to see, and we'll know when we get to the games. A big part of shooting, of course, is your confidence and concentration. And so if you put the work in, obviously you'll get more confidence from doing that. And then, of course, being in great shape, I think, is a big part of being successful in this league. So he's got to continue to work on the conditioning, continue to study the league, and just concentrate on getting better each and every day. And so you see that with a lot of players. He's still a young player. And just, there's usually some bumps in the road, and he's had those, and then find a way to rise above them and become successful.
And our last question comes from Steve Popper, Newsday.
About Emmanuel and really rookies, I guess, in general. He comes in with a reputation as a shooter, but the other parts of the game, the team defense, running an offense, is that where a rookie has I guess the longest learning curve?
Yeah. I think the one thing is he's got a great skill already. He could shoot the ball as well as anyone in the league. He's a great shooter, and so and now it's learning all the other parts of the league and his team. So the defensive part is usually the biggest adjustment for guys coming in. And then, of course, understanding the tendencies of the players and the teams, and learning his teammates. But also the game is a lot different. The college game is very different from the NBA game. So there's an adjustment period that you go through. But I love his enthusiasm, great work ethic, great student of the game. He's in early, he stays late, he comes back at night. He does all the things that you would like a rookie to do.